Welcome and welcome back to DemoWorks Podcast. My name is P.A. Clark. In this episode, we're talking about the non-cosmetic uses of Botox. Now, what does that mean? Cosmetic uses means referring to beauty. Anything that's going to be done to enhance our appearance. The non-cosmetic uses is for things outside of predominantly the face. And this is what Botox was used for initially, not for beauty, but for medical use. All of the different types of Botox on the market at some point will be doing non-cosmetic uses because it is a drug. It's a drug that works. So it can't only work on the face, it can work on other areas. Particularly, it's going to be working on migraines. So when we think about migraines, what are we thinking? We have throbbing pain, irritation, right? What are some of the other symptoms of migraine? Vomiting. Some people may get a fever. Some may feel faint. So all of these things with migraine is throughout the entire body. But however, treating migraine by using the product within the forehead, temporal zone, occipital zone, the muscles in the neck itself, those reduces the incidences of migraine headaches. It doesn't remove the migraine, but it stops the amount of migraine attacks you're going to have. So say for example, you're having 4 attacks a month. By the use of botulinum toxin, you may have 1 a month or 1 every 2 months. So it's definitely a thing to have. Many patients will say, well, outside of migraine headaches, it reduces the incidence of headaches in general. And that is something that can also occur. Next is overactive sweating. Botulinum toxin is one of those products that stops the movement of muscles, but also of the glands, the production of sweat from glands, whether it's sweat glands or other glands in the body. Botulinum toxin can stop all of that stuff from functioning. I call botulinum toxin the magic bullet of the 20th century. It says what it's going to do, it does what it's going to say, and also no one dies from this. One of the safest products you can ever find is going to be botulinum toxin treatments. Now, we have overactive sweating where we have embarrassing moments with overactive sweat stains with under the arms, the palms, and the soles of the feet. With botulinum toxin, we can drastically reduce the amount of perspiration that's being produced to a point where you may not have any perspiration whatsoever being produced because of the use of botulinum toxin. Now, let's talk about overactive sweating. Botulinum toxin, like any of the other botulinum toxins on the market, reduces muscular activity that creates contraction, whether it's contraction of muscle or contraction of glands. When glands contract under the arm, it produces perspiration. Palms of the hands, soles of the feet, same scenario. So with introducing botulinum toxin beneath the surface of the skin, you're actually reducing the glandular production of perspiration. And so you're going to have less of the sweat marks occurring, less embarrassment, less money being spent on new clothing. And botulinum toxin for the underarm is done in a pretty much systematic way, which we're injecting the toxin below the skin, just generally in the area of the sweat glands. And this product would actually spread out into the local region, reducing that sweat. Let's move on to muscle spasm. This particular case is torticollis. This is when one muscle of the neck pulls so violently and so strong that you're literally twisted into one direction. Now, why is this occurring? Well, the muscle is squeezing, and as that muscle squeezes, it pulls the side of the head down. And it's so painful to resist that individuals would basically just stay with their heads on the side just to reduce the amount of pain that's occurring if they try to oppose that. Introducing botulinum toxin within that muscle itself is a miracle for these patients because they're able to bring the head back to alignment and have a normal day. Botulinum toxin for muscle spasm is one of the biggest treatments out there, especially for spinal disorders where individuals have a spasm associated with the forearm or the legs. And we know this could be very, very painful for the individual, or it can create necrosis within the tissue where the area is squeezed, like in the palms of the hands. And so what would happen after you're introducing botulinum toxin to the muscle that's putting the fingers in or creating a spasm, you can actually open up the patient's hands and you can do your cleaning. You can keep that hand nice and dry, and the patient has a much better outcome. Let's move on to overactive bladder. Overactive bladder occurs when you have to relieve yourself of urine regularly. Now I'm talking about maybe 10 plus times a day, several times at night. This is very inconvenient. We need our sleep. And so if you're waking up unnecessarily to go to the bathroom and to urinate, then consider having botulinum toxin to the urinary bladder to reduce the incidences of that urgency that you're going to feel. Now you're going to have to go to a urologist to get your referral, go to a urologist, disclose your symptoms, and if you're a candidate for it, I guarantee you will love having botulinum toxin for your overactive bladder. There's so many studies that are out that confirms the positive effect of botulinum toxin on overactive bladder, and it's a very efficacious treatment. Let's go to strabismus. Interesting fact, strabismus was being treated with botulinum toxin way back before the 70s. So botulinum toxin is not a new player on the market. It's been around for almost 100 years. In the testing phase, it was first FDA approved 1989 for strabismus or for blepharospasm. That's irregular muscle activity of the eyes. So if it's used for that, it has to be one of the safest medications on the market. Later on, it was then FDA approved in the United States to treat cosmetic uses for glabellar lines. But patients were noticing that after treating the overactive or the muscle activity within the eyes, they noticed that the crow's feet were going away. With this being said, if your crow's feet are going away, then there must be something positive that can be used, cosmetically speaking, with botulinum toxin. So when we have our, we will call it cross eye, or one eye, which is this individual's left eye, that pulls closer to the center, using botulinum toxin on the overactive muscle, which is the medial muscle, allows that eye to come back in alignment. Next, we have erectile dysfunction. Now, how can botulinum toxin work on erectile dysfunction? Erectile dysfunction have many different causes. So some of those causes are going to be depression or stress. Those are the psychological effects of erectile dysfunction. Others are going to be the physical reasons, and those physical reasons are going to be heart disease, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, where there's a physical element to the erectile dysfunction. Many times it's related to the vascular nature of the penis not becoming erect. Now, what we do is inject into the cavernosum of the penis, which is those huge tubes on the side of the penis, so we can have more concentration of fluid entering that cavernosus cavities to create erections. Now, this is a new treatment for erectile dysfunction. However, if it does work for you, then this is something that will work for several months on end, where you're not visiting the doctor every month, or you're not taking medications every day to have your pleasure with your significant other. That is all we have for today on botulinum toxin and non-cosmetic use. Don't forget to subscribe for more helpful information and tips on all things beauty.